And welcome to this weekend's Behind the Mitten. John Gonzalez along with Amy Sherman having a great time as we do every single weekend, traveling the state of Michigan, finding some cool places to visit, a brewery here and there, and I don't know, Amy, just having fun along the way, right?
That's what we do, John.
We really appreciate you all listening. I know we have some new listeners around the state, so if you're just listening to the show for the very first time, thank you so much.
Yeah, we do really appreciate you tuning in as we take you on a journey miles and miles across the state of Michigan to bring you the best things to do here in our wonderful state. And this week, we're back at one of our old favorites. We always love to come back to visit our friends in Gaylord, whether it is spring, summer, fall, or right now, winter, because it's all about the outdoors here, right, Paulie B?
That's right. That's what we are, all outdoors, Amy.
All the time.
All the time.
Paul Beachnau, who's the executive director of the Gaylord Tourism Bureau and Convention Center here in Gaylord, in the Gaylord. We love having you on as a guest. You've become a really good friend through the years, and we just love all the cool things you have going on in this little alpine village in northern Michigan.
Well, thank you. It's great to see what you guys are doing and promoting our state. You know, so many people, of course, have a negative impression of winter. Of course, we always tell people you got to embrace it and get out there, and there's so many cool things you can do. So thank you guys for being advocates of winter and getting out there. It's not always as cold and bad as it looks. So.
I think it's awesome. I kind of am like you now, where I get super excited when it's winter, because you've exposed us to all these really cool things to do that I might never have tried before.
Right. You know, no, people have no idea that you can go winter rafting or when people go out on snowshoes, the things that you can see in the winter that you'll never see in the spring and summer, or cross-country skiing. And, you know, once you get moving, you're really not that cold. Of course, and, you know, some people get intimidated, of course, by downhill skiing, which, you know, once you learn how to stop and turn, like Gonzo, I think, and now he's just, you know, he'll just go down any hole, already. You know, any
he's
hill,
natural.
And he's
the
a
thing
natural.
Is he's a natural. It's just when little 3-year-old girls whiz by
She
him.
was 4. She was a mighty 4, just let me tell you that. You know, one of the other things that we love about you, Paul, and we're going to talk a lot on this show about Gaylord and the whole area, and if you've tuned in the past, if you're a regular listener, you know we love this area. But Paul, earlier this year, Amy and I announced our Beer of the Year, and we had you sample it. We have a surprise for you a little later in the show.
Oh,
yes.
I always like your surprises.
Maybe because I know how much you love it, you can help us pick Beer of the Week.
Yes.
I'm always up for that.
You are always up for that.
So it's always fun talking to you. As Amy said, we got to know you pretty well, and we know that you love craft beers as much as we do. And when did you become a craft beer fan? I'm just curious.
You know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. You know, I just got tired of the old standards, and my brother started turning me on to some
That's right, your brother,
IPAs and some good beers, and I've just never wanted to go back. You know, I turned to the dark side, and I've just never, ever wanted to go back to just the normal beers. I'm an aficionado, and the cool thing is, it's like, hey, I'm drinking beer, but I'm trying this stuff out. You know, it's kind of like a wine connoisseur. I mean, how can you not encourage that?
It's fun to see, too, Gaylord kind of step into it with Snowbelt Brewery opening up a couple of years ago, and just kind of seeing this whole area have a tap room downtown as well, right?
We do, and, you know, we produce a little publication called Craft Beer Trail, because so many people in Michigan now are looking for craft beers, and a lot of places like Treetops and, of course, 32 Tap Room and other places, Benetham's Restaurant, a lot of those facilities feature Michigan craft beers, and I find that so exciting that there's this whole rejuvenation to supporting our state and supporting the craft beer industry, but also locally grown products and Michigan-grown products, and there's been this whole dynamic growth of that, and I find that, having grown up in Michigan, born in Michigan, being a Michigander, not a Michiganian, that you know, it's just to see people have that pride in our state, to me, is really, really, really rewarding.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Gaylord does have this unique place. You're right off of I-75, about a mile or 1 hour south of the Mackinac Bridge. A lot of people that work on Mackinac live here during the off-season, right?
Of course they do, because it's like the coolest place, you know, closest to Mackinac Island.
The gateway.
And it's the gateway. But yeah, we are historically a tourism destination in Michigan with, the Otsego Club, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit later on, which has been one of the first ski resorts in Michigan, Otsego Lake, our elevation, our wildlife that's here. We are historically a tourism destination, and I think one of our other guests, Jerry's going to talk about snowmobiling, which has been so popular in this area for years and years and years because we're just easy to get to, and we're right in the middle of the snowbelt.
Right.
You take an area between Grayling and Indian River is right in the middle of northern Michigan snowbelt region.
Well, and for those who don't know, explain what a snowbelt region is, because I first heard that
get a lot
term
of
from
snow.
you, and I was like, I didn't know that about Gaylord. You guys get the most snow in northern, lower
If you
Michigan,
look
right?
at historical records, and I just saw one, our average is over 141 inches a year, and that average is more than Sault Ste. Marie and Petoskey and Traverse City and all of those areas. Again, because we have the highest elevation in the lower peninsula, we're about 45 minutes to an hour from Lake Michigan, so we get those northwesterly flowing winds. They pick up the moisture and they drop them here. And there's sometimes where, we'll have 12, 14, 16 more inches than when you go 10, 15 miles east of Gaylord, we'll have considerably more snow.
That is significantly more. Wow. Well, that makes for perfect conditions for snowmobiling, right?
Yeah. We'd like to welcome our next guest to this show. Paul, why don't you introduce him since you invited him to come along?
Well, Jerry's a great friend of mine and has done so much for snowmobiling in Gaylord. And Michigan is one of the top snowmobile states in the entire Midwest. And Jerry's got a little company called
The Sled
Sled
Shed.
Shed. Sled
Great
Shed.
friend.
Great friend. Yeah, great guy. Who invited him?
But Jerry and I have worked together for years and years, and he's been a huge advocate for grooming efforts and making our trail systems in northern Michigan better and better. So it's great to have Jerry here today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jerry. We're going to talk with you at length about what you do at the Sled Shed and how people can get more involved in snowmobiling here in Gaylord. But I think it's good for people to know that you guys really do have quite a trail system, and they can pick up maps and things like that at the Tourism Bureau, right?
Yes, we do. We have approximately 97 miles of trails in this general area, but the great thing about Gaylord is we have the strong motel base. You can drop off your or your trailer here and ride to anywhere in the state of Michigan. A lot of people do every weekend.
Oh, I bet. That's kind of crazy. It's a whole culture and lifestyle being a snowmobiler.
It is,
I
and
learned.
we have the same people that have been coming up here for 23 years that I've been involved, and their kids are coming up now and riding, and snowmobiling's really taken off in the last year or so.
Well, and it's such a great family activity, for some people maybe that don't want to get out and hike or ski. What we're finding is that snowmobiling is just a great family activity, and it's a great chance for families to spend time together and see the outdoors. And sometimes when you're zipping along there, it's pretty exciting. It's for thrill seekers, certainly.
We'll talk in a few minutes, Jerry, about some of the essentials when you're going to ride your snowmobile this season, because I can't wait to ask you about that. But, Paul, on snowmobiling front, real quick, you guys are at the center of it. I see those trails going right through downtown.
Well, Jerry mentioned the 97 miles just in our area, in our region, but the nice thing here is that you're connected to over 300 miles. You can ride up to Mackinac, and from Mackinac, take a trail that goes down to Rogers City and Alpena, or you can take a trail that goes over towards Petoskey and East Jordan and Bel Air or Kalkaska. So we are like a main thoroughfare. Our main trail is like a main thoroughfare that connects you to a lot of different trail systems.
And with the base of the hotels and everything, it does make it super easy to plan your trip that way.
It sure does.
I love it. All right. Well, Paulie B, if people want to get more information about planning a trip to beautiful Gaylord, Michigan, where should they go? GaylordMichigan.net, and definitely follow us on Facebook. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, well, Jerry, you're going to stay with us, and we're going to talk more about the Sled Shed, Paulie, his wonderful business that's been here for 23 years.
And we might even share that little surprise with them as well.
Maybe we will share a surprise. All right, well, if you want to hear all about things snowmobiling and more from Gaylord, Michigan, you want to stay tuned to Behind the Mitten.
Hey, this is Paul Beachnau with the Gaylord Tourism Bureau, where it's all outdoors year-round. You want a great time if you want to experience magic, out on the snow, then you come on up to Gaylord and we'll make it happen. And thanks for listening to our great friends John, Gonzalez, and Amy Sherman with Behind the Mitten. But I just want to know, where the hell is my Blackberry IPA?
And welcome back to Behind the Mitten. John Gonzalez along with Amy Sherman broadcasting this weekend from Gaylord, Michigan. We're at Treetops Resort, one of our favorite resorts of the whole state of Michigan. We're here quite a bit. And Amy, we've gotten to become friends with these guys.
Yes, whether they want to be our friends or not.
Thanks for clarifying that, Amy. Yeah,
they just can't shake us. But I love it because every time we come up together, we get to meet new friends and learn about something else that's interesting that's going on in this region of the state. And so we have to welcome back again Jerry Beattie from the Sled Shed here in Gaylord, a store that's been open for 23 years that supplies you with all the things you need to go snowmobiling except the sled.
Snowmobile, right.
We say the sled. I'm not sure. That's what
It's the lingo. Okay?
It's the lingo.
Get the lingo. Jerry's going to tell us more about snowmobile lingo because I got to go last year snowmobiling and I learned that it really is a whole subculture.
Oh, absolutely. It's like Paul said earlier, it's a family sport. We have people from 5 years old to 90 that are riding snowmobiles around here.
He looked at you when he said 90, Paul.
I'll split the difference there between 5 and 90.
32.
Right.
And add a few.
Well, Jerry, you've said that you've seen a real increase in snowmobiling over the last couple of years. What do you think's brought that on?
Well, I think in large part the economy's getting better. It's real obvious. These past 2 weeks have been the strongest 2 weeks that I've seen in since the late 90s.
Yeah.
The snow is good. As we talked about in the earlier segment, we're in the snowbelt here in Gaylord. We get that westerly wind. We generally get more snow than anybody else, and we have a strong motel base along with the Tourism Bureau and the Chamber promoting this area. They're down at the snowmobile shows. The largest snowmobile show in the world is the Novi Snowmobile Show.
Oh, it is? Really?
And, they're down there promoting the Gaylord area, handing out maps and things like that. And we just, like I said, we have a strong dealership base, and you can ride a snowmobile from here to anywhere in the state of Michigan.
Now, Terry, where do you? Sorry, Jerry. Where?
I've been called worse.
Again, he's looking at Paul. When people walk into your store, the Sled Shed, what kind of things can they expect to buy there?
They can buy from socks to a 5X helmet. Everything to ride a snowmobile we have. We just don't have the snowmobile.
Yeah, I'm curious what that is because I did not go with Amy on the trip.
Jerry, what are some things if there's some novices or people maybe that are out there? What are some things that you just shouldn't do without? And then to follow up, what's hot? What's the new thing right now that everyone's looking for? Because I think that's kind of a geeky crowd, and they're always looking to say warmer, go faster, increase performance. So
the new thing is our new modular helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3-in-1 helmet. They come with electric shields, which we need this year because of the cold weather.
Yep.
Oh, you mean the shield heats up in the front?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It plugs into your snowmobile.
System? Holy cow.
And just generally warm things. As you know, with the show, it's cold, and it doesn't stop people, though.
Yeah,
they're dedicated people.
You never want to leave without a balaclava because one thing that will happen when you're riding is sometimes there's a gap between your shirt and your neck, and you always want to make sure that you wear something under the helmet that tucks in right into your shirt because it will get really cold. And I found out the hard way.
Absolutely.
Frozen larynx. I was really surprised when I went last year. So I hadn't gone in like 25 years. And when I went last year and they outfitted me with everything, the suit that you can wear now that's windproof. And I was so toasty. I was fine. I could have gone all day long and been fine. It was completely different than just wearing a winter coat.
Absolutely. And Amy, the thing is you don't get wet now. Years ago, when I first started snowmobiling, I'm not going to tell you how long ago, but you went out for an hour and your hands were frozen, your butt was wet, and you were ready to go in. And now you can go all day and still be comfortable. And the snowmobile